your view, your own view here goes against the law of the land as well, yeah?
I feel that women have the right to choose for themselves what they do with it. If that's their choice.
And that is freedom. It means you have the right to their own body. What about to send my child?
I would never advocate someone breaking the law.
Yeah, but that is the law though. The law doesn't condone what you're saying.
The law said she would still have the right to choose. I wouldn't say that it's right to go out and break the law in a place where prostitution is illegal. But it doesn't change her right to do it. There's plenty of other places she can go and sell her body.
The conflict here is, does man has the right to decide what's right and wrong? You've just said to me, a woman has the right to sell her body. Another person said to me, a child has the right to sell their body. Another person said, you can steal, you can do as we like. If it is left to man's own devices, we would have a system like we've got inside the UK, where there is epidemic rates of rape, sexual violence, domestic violence. And I believe it is based on the fundamental idea that we as individuals have the right to decide what's right and wrong.
I agree with you, but I still don't understand why you talk as if Sharia law is going to suddenly wipe away all the problems in society.
Because it has in the past. That's the difference. I'm talking about a practical example that's been implemented for over 30 years.
And it's a democratic system here, so you'd have to ask people whether they wanted that system or not.
I don't believe man has the right to choose what's right and wrong. That's the fundamental for us. The one who made us. The one who created the universe. He has the absolute right to decide what is right and wrong. This is the one that made us. I don't believe that the parliamentarians, they know what's right and wrong. I don't believe that George Galloway or Linda Jackson or Margaret Thatcher, who passed away now, necessarily knows right and wrong. I don't believe I should relay upon my own future and my own children's future in the hands of people like this.
But you're living in a country that has that democratic system.
I'm living in a country that unfortunately is not in Islam. And I'm going to be working for Islam until we see the black flag of Islam overturned down.
But do you think the language that you're using to get there and the means that you're using to get there
what
is
am I using? Speaking,
like,
talking.
No, talking right now, but about how awful the system is that we have at the moment in the UK. Not every aspect of it, and I think that's looking at it in a very negative
obviously, because yourself, you condone prostitution. You believe woman has the right to sell her own body. That's why you support it. And unfortunately, you said someone, when you live in the filth for so long, you can no longer distinguish the good smell. That's why you're supporting something which is so openly corrupt. You're just saying to me, a woman has the right to sell her body. Does your daughter have the right to do that as well?
If that's what she chooses, and I think but I think you're looking at it in a very narrow-minded way.
Narrow-minded.
You don't prostitution. People don't wake up one
you're
day and decide
open-minded
that
and I'm narrow-minded. No problem. But let's talk about: would you accept your daughter to be prostitute, to sell herself on the streets here? Or is it one rule for the other women?
I think it's a very good. It's not that black and white, is it? It's not that easy. And there's a whole raft of issues when it comes to something like prostitution. I don't think going out onto the streets is necessarily going to do
the voice to speak out and forbid what is evil. You don't believe that any.
But again, you're talking, forbidding evil. Who's to decide what's evil? Again,
it needs to be the one who made me. It needs to be the creator. It needs to be the divine force of justice. That's my belief as a Muslim.
Absolutely, and you're entitled to have that because you're living in a democratic system that allows you to hold those views.
I'm entitled to have those views because Allah has ordained upon me.
And
the law of the land, the British law of the land, quite frankly, can
to express your views openly.
No, it doesn't.
But, okay,
because Muslim community in the UK are regularly arrested for expressing their views. The Muslim community inside the UK has parts of the world are regularly persecuted for expressing their views, even in democratic society.
My concern with this sort of patrol is that it has a slightly aggressive undertone to it. The way that you're speaking, the law of the land can go to hell.
I'm talking to you as an interview. When I was in the street there, how was I speaking exactly?
Well, you're being quite aggressive now in this interview. That's quite aggressive language. The law of the land can go to hell. Do you not think that's an aggressive way of talking?
Because I said the law of the land
can go to hell. Do you think that's an appropriate way?
Law. One second. By the way, legislative law. How is that threatening?
Well, I'm asking if you think that's a.
I'm asking you. Am I threatening you by saying the legislative law?
I'm saying the language that you're using is quite intimidating. Do you think that's a good? Do you think that's a calm way to put?
Could it be that you're a coward?
Why would you call me a coward when all I'm asking you is whether you think the most intelligent way to get across your argument is to say that the law of the land can go to hell?
You said to me that you're intimidated? Is it because you're coward?
No, because I think that the language you use to get your point across.
Am I threatening?
The language you use to get your point across.
Exactly which language am I threatening?
I'm asking you that sentence, the law of the land can go to hell.
Are you the law?
Do you think that, no, I'm asking you, do you think that is an intelligent way to get across your point?
You initially said to me, you feel threatened. I said that because you're scared.
No, I didn't say I feel threatened. I said that the way, I'm worried that there is an undertone of that in the way that you're getting your point across. That the groups like this, the patrols going out, the Muslim patrols, the Sharia patrol here, there is an element when it comes down to it, like right now when we're having a discussion, and you'll make a statement like the law of the land can go to hell. And I'm asking you, do you honestly believe that that is the most conducive way to get your point across to other members of British society? Do you think that people are going to respond to that positively?
You said to me you feel scared or
no, I didn't say any of that. I didn't say scared,
so.
intimidated, or threatened. I said there is an element of intimidation. Undertone. Yeah, there is an undertone. Absolutely,
if I say the law of the land can go to hell, I believe so, because I believe those who disbelieve in the oneness of God, their final destination will be the hellfire anyway. And those laws that they establish with that will go with them, with Fir'aun or Pharaoh, etc., into the hellfire. So I have no respect for the British law whatsoever. The parliamentarians who are waving their peace papers inside the House of Commons, they have no right to be respected. Rather, they are those who put themselves as lords beside gods, and they should be dispraised for them for their own behaviour. As for the reaction or the acceptance of our own speeches in the wider society, there are two things. When someone comes to call for the truth, his main objective must be to please the one who made him. It is not to please the populace. It is not about sloganism and jingoism. It's not about being on your soapbox and using the popular call like the Sun newspaper. I'm not a Sun newspaper reader.
No, I think you're on your soapbox right now, though.
I'm not a Sun newspaper reader, and I'm going to be jingoistic about my call. Rather, the believer, the Muslim, should be firm and should adhere to the principles he follows, and his main objective must be to please the one that made him, even if the disbelievers, the kafirs like yourself, dislike it.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly acceptable. I'm just worried that the language that you use to get that across. I'm worried about the message. Yeah, the message that's going out in general. That is the thing that's concerning. The thing that's concerning, and is concerning to a lot of people and to a lot of Muslim people we've spoken to. Is that
Show me one Muslim person you spoke to.
We've got the interviews with them. We spoke to members of the East London Mosque who said that it was absolutely that the behaviour of some of the patrols is undermining the work that they're doing in the community to help foster understanding of the faith.
We're talking about prostitution, drunken behaviour,
and then very quickly you go to say that the law of the land can go to hell.
The law of the land is the one that initiates this and allows it to be in that manner. It's the law that promotes this. There's something called al-munkar asasi. One second. It is called the fundamental evils. It is the law that allows prostitution. It is the law that allows drunken behaviour at night. It is the law that pushes and motivates these people because it allows certain behaviours that lead to these extremes. And I said to you before, the example is on the A&E, on the Friday nights, Saturday nights, in any town centre, you'll see complete and utter disaster because the law allows them to drink alcohol in the first place, so they become drunk. The law allows them to become drunk, so they vomit in the streets. Because they vomit in the streets, they become angry, they fight. That's why you go to any police station or any hospital you see, that is the result of the same law you're praising.
No, and I think those are valid points. I think it is what concerns a lot of people, that the patrols that go out, there is an undercurrent there.
You agree today there's no undercurrent.
It goes very quickly from being a conversation to being preached at, where it's your way or the highway, it's this view or nothing, it's Sharia or nothing.
What does preaching mean to you? Does it mean the absence of discussion? Does it mean a clash of ideas? What does preaching mean to you?
I feel very much naive in that sense that you're just saying your point across, you're not willing to listen to another side.
I've heard everything you said, but you completely wrong.
Well, again, I mean, I don't think that's...
Do you believe what I say?
I think there are elements to it, yeah, that hold a point.
Do you believe what I say? Some elements, yeah.
Some of it, yeah. It's a discussion.
Well, I disagree with your point that prostitution is right. I disagree with your point that your daughter or someone else's daughter should be able to serve themselves. But when you thought you had some hesitation, I disagree with those points.
I think it's a wider discussion. I don't think it's a case of prostitution is right or wrong.
Being intimidated or being fearful. I believe it's your own cowardice, secondly, thirdly. And as for the British public, how they take our message I mean, quite frankly, my main concern is the one I'm worshipping. I don't worship the British public.
So you don't mind how the British public views you?
British public is my concern. It's the one who made me my concern.
It's the concern for other Muslims in the community who feel like you're now representing them as well.
I'm not representing anybody but myself. My concern is to worship the one who made me. And prostitution, drugs, alcohol, it is all things condemned in Islam. Even if someone who works, who calls himself a Muslim, who works with the police or works with the British government and says, it's all right to drink alcohol, you can be homosexual, you can have a girlfriend. Well, it's not. Islam doesn't condone that.
But it is okay in Britain.
If someone says
that... It is okay, it's legal here.
In the UK,
you can be homosexual,
you can do anything you like in the UK. Yeah? There's complete freedom.
We have the legal system.
Yeah? The legal system gives many liberties to people, which lead to many crimes. But the point I'm saying is, if a Muslim comes into the arena and says to you, well, I live in the UK and I think it's right to have homosexuality, because he's a complete secularist. He does not follow Islam in his life. But the one who believes in Islam, and this is through the Quran and the Sunnah, I mean the evidential basis for our viewpoints as Muslims, he will say to you, these are things condemned in the Sharia of Allah, in Allah's law. As for Tony Blair or David Cameron's law, they can both go to hell.
So I'm curious to know now, one last question for you. In your belief system, what should happen to me? Because I'm not a Muslim, I don't share your views, I do drink. What would happen to me? What should happen to me?
I believe that we need to have a system where Islam is established on a state level. There's an education system, there's a foreign policy, economical system, a social system. That will enable society to recognize their own behavioral roles and how to act in a wider society. And if they go against those laws, they have to face the full force of the law. And the difference is, the Islamic law has the power of deterrent. In the UK, reoffending rates are so high, but people are not frightened to go to prison. They're not frightened of the law. Whereas in Islamic society, the law and the penal system in particular is so on point that you find that rape decreases immediately. So does murder, so does burglary, so does theft in general. So you find even in the Muslim world, where Islam is not implemented, but the community as to Muslims, there are much lower rates of crime than we have here in the UK in what you consider to be the model society.
I didn't say it was a model society.
Which many
it's the society we live in right now. It's very much in that.